But we behaved ourselves. We had a show to make, and so even if you felt like beating someone senseless, you just didn't. You said, I'll get out of here eventually. I'll go home at the end of the day. We're getting paid. I can tolerate them for another 9 hours. So we would generally be pretty polite to each other. But it was bizarre because you had all these different personalities and you were suddenly in this 1800s thing. But we also had the weird thing that kind of stood out, the crew, because remember all the guys, the grips, the electricians, they're not in 1800s gear. So we're all bundled up in little corsets and bustles and dresses. And there's these guys, you know what grips are like, and they're like teamsters. There's all these guys in jeans and little T-shirts or no shirt, all sweaty, like smoking and stuff, like climbing up on ladders. And so you have all these half-naked construction workers stripped to the waist running around in the middle of this. It was kind of funky. Gave us something to look at between scenes.
Sure, yeah.
Little orgy on the prairie. That's something that we're working on, actually.
Yeah, I would imagine someone's probably made that. They always make the X-rated films and use TV shows. So there's probably been, and then Little on the Prairie. They've done all that Best Little House, har har har. It's pretty popular. They'd probably use that one.
Wow.
So were you upset when you found out the show was ending and they were going to blow up the town? Or I don't know if you weren't in that last episode, but
yeah, I had already left, but it was weird. I thought it was a good ending. A lot of people were kind of freaked out by it and said, "Oh, they shouldn't have blown it up." But I understood it because Michael was talking about they recycle everything in Hollywood, and he thought, well, if I leave it up, they're going to film other stuff on it. And it'll be kind of horrible to see them make all these cheesy, awful movies on our beautiful, the Olson's Mercantile and the Little House. I've got to somehow dispose of it. And he was trying to think of some way to end the show. It's like, how do we end this? We've had everything. We've had the anthrax. We've had the typhus. What can we possibly do? And Michael also was always, he had this kind of eternally 13-year-old boy mentality going on. He liked to blow things up. He liked to get loose with the firecrackers. And here was a chance to accomplish all of these goals at once. Give the show a great ending, keep the sets from being reused, and blow stuff up.
So they legitimately destroyed the entire set with that?
They did. They didn't blow up the Little House. They dismantled that. And they didn't blow up the church. Even Michael Landon drew the line at blowing up a church on TV. It's like, ooh, could be too much. But the Blind School, the Mercantile, Nellie's Hotel, all the main buildings, ka-blooey.
Man.
Wow.
It's like Landon's...
And no special effects. They just blew them up.
Had to make sure you got it in the first shot there.
Oh, yeah. There's a great shot. If you watch the exploding episode, the first one they blow up is the Blind School. It's huge. And they actually put too much explosive in, and it really blows. It blows up much bigger than all the others. And you can see, when you watch on TV, there's this one board comes flying out of the rubble right at the camera, and it cuts. And that shot, it cut sooner than any of the other explosions, and it's because it actually blew up too big and all kinds of crap went slamming into the camera and everybody had to run for their lives. It was great.
Whoa.
Wow.
So it's like Landon's big F.U. to Hollywood there. Just blow up the set. So
yeah. He was definitely he and the network used to fight all the time because, they didn't want to make Little House on the Prairie. They had Michael Landon from Bonanza, and they were going to give him a cop show. He was going to be like Knight Rider or something in a car and be police. A detective or a doctor or something. And he said, no, I want to be Charles Ingalls. And NBC said, you're out of your mind. You can't be Charles Ingalls. No, I want to be Charles Ingalls. I want to do Little House on the Prairie. And they kept saying, no, and they didn't want to give him a budget. Oh, it was awful. And he fought them constantly and said, no, I'm going to do this. And, of course, he was right every time. The thing was this, huge mega hit, which, of course, drove the executives out of their minds.
Yeah, wow.
So it is possible that Michael Landon could have been in Knight Rider, and then Hasselhoff would have been Charles Ingalls.
Right? How freaky would that have been?
About that,
yeah. That's entirely possible. It could have gone that way.
That'd be amazing.
So when the show was over, where did you go after that?
Well, I did the Love Boat and Fantasy Island because, like, it's the law. You do a series in the 70s, you got to do your Love Boat and Fantasy Island time. And that was kind of fun. The Love Boat was fun. The Fantasy Island was kind of a drag because Hervé Villechaize was kind of scary. And I had to play, I was a prostitute on Fantasy Island, so I had to wear this horrible outfit, and it was awful.
Sweet.
And Eve Plum, Jan Brady, played my mother.
Is she that much older than you, or?
No, we're exactly the same age.
Huh.
It was weird. She came to Fantasy Island, and her character had this TV disease where she wasn't going to live to see her kid grow up. So they took her into the future, this whole kind of Back to the Future thing with Ricardo Montalban, and she finds out her daughter's run away from home and become a hooker. And it's one of the most ghastly episodes of Fantasy Island ever made. And so I did that. I did a very cute movie with Marie Osmond, of all people. I did a thing called I Married Wyatt Earp. Yet another Western, but with Marie Osmond. That was bizarre.
Makes sense, yeah.
And then I started doing theater, and then, of course, I was doing stand-up comedy, and that's how I kind of wound up where I am now with the book and everything is I was doing stand-up, and then a couple of years ago I changed it where I started telling more stories from my life and made it more of a one-woman show, and then decided, well, why not write the rest of it down and have a book?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your book that just came out?
Yeah, I rather like it. It is called Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, How I Survived Nellie Oleson and Learned to Love Being Hated, which is a good title because it's true. It's really worked out for me. A lot of people reject their characters. I mean, I was just speaking of poor Eve Plum, who not overly fond of the Brady Bunch, that girl. She's sort of accepted it now. But a lot of people who come out of these shows are just kind of like, ugh, don't mention the show. And they don't want to talk about their character, and they hate their character. And I went through a phase when I first got off the show that, I wanted to get away from Little House on the Prairie. But now everything's really come full circle. Little House is really popular. It's in 140 countries. It's on DVD. And having played this horrible girl, Nellie Oleson, it's done me nothing but good my whole life. It's really worked out in my favor. I mean, a week from now, I'm going to be in the south of France.
Well.
I get free trips to France. The French love Little House on the Prairie, and of course, well, they do like Nellie Oleson best. They don't think she's mean; they think she's French, and French people are cuckoo for Nellie Oleson. So it works for me.
Yeah.
So it's really worked out. The Nellie thing worked. I was able to vent all my hostilities and get to be this horrible, horrible person on TV, which I think allowed me to be nicer in my own life. And now I look back, and I had a really fun character, so I don't have to be embarrassed about it. And people are still watching the show, and I have all these bizarre stories. And so it's how I sort of adjusted to it, embraced Nellie Oleson, and she wound up really helping me in my day-to-day life.
Yeah, like you said, some people, we've interviewed a few other people, and we won't mention names, but some of them are like, you can ask me 2 questions about my former roles, and then that's all. And it's like, well...
How weird is that?
I know some people get mad. You don't want to be mean to them, but it's like a lot of the listeners, a lot of them don't care what play you're going to be showing up in 3 weeks or whatever.
It's like even if they're doing something cool now, they got famous because of whatever character they started with. I know that no matter what I do, when I drop dead, it's going to say best remembered as Nellie Oleson from Little House on the Prairie.
That's not a bad epitaph, though.
It's exactly hello, and it's true. I mean, okay, if it was a stupid show, but at least it was Little House on the Prairie, is well made, so I don't should be embarrassed. But it's even if you do something cooler later, the only reason they let you do that cool thing and be in that movie or that other show is because of the show you got famous for.
Yeah.
So you're sort of indebted. You're sort of stuck. You wouldn't be doing the interview if it wasn't for the dopey character. So I don't know. I sort of know where my bread is buttered. I'm sort of grateful for these things. So I like that I was on Little House on the Prairie, that I was Nellie.
Yeah, that's cool. And you're going to be at Walnut Grove here coming up, right?
I am. I'm coming to town. Right now I'm doing Sacramento, San Francisco, France, and then Walnut Grove. Because you want to follow up San Francisco and Paris with Walnut Grove. That's what you want to do.
That's the natural progression of things.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's completely normal. But I've been to Walnut Grove before. I've stuck my foot in Plum Creek. I actually wound up diving in. I intend to again if it's half as hot as it was before. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm going to come to Walnut Grove. I'm going to sell books. I'm going to sign them. And I am doing all sorts of clever things now. As I said, I do stand-up comedy. I wrote a book. although everything sort of relates to the prairie. Also, because of the guy who played my husband on Little House was Percival. He died of AIDS in 1986. So I've done a lot of stuff helping people who are sick and living with HIV. And in fact, that's how I wound up in Walnut Grove the first time in '92. It was a benefit. There was a whole AIDS hospice, this program helping people in Minneapolis, and we did a whole prairie thing.
Okay.
And now I'm with a group called Protect, or National Association to Protect Children. I'm on the board. And we're changing laws to better protect kids because, you know, you got all the predators and the child pornography and people molesting kids, and it's insane. And so we're trying to get children better protection legally from all that kind of horrible stuff and make it safer.
Use your stardom for the good of the nation.
I'm using my hideous, bitchy Nellie powers for good, not evil, yes.
All right.
It works because, you know, it gives you a platform. You can come in and say, well, nobody wants to talk about AIDS. Nobody wants to talk about child abuse. These are very difficult topics. But then they say, oh, it's Nellie Oleson. Well, maybe we can talk about it.
Gotta get them in the door and then bring up the heavy-duty stuff when they're already inside.
Yep.
Exactly. I get my little 1800s high-button boot in the door, and I'm good to go.
That's all it takes.
All right. And you're going to be in Walnut Grove on July 23rd, right?
Yes, that's when I'm coming in, that weekend of the 24th there. Yeah, I come back from France, and I turn right around and come see you guys.
Okay. And then
I'll be babbling in French when I arrive. It'll be great.
Yeah, if we show up there, can we get photos or something? Or
Oh, totally, yeah, because I'm going to be there the whole weekend, the whole 2 days, because it's the whole Laura Ingalls Wilder days. And there's all sorts of events. I think I start like each day, like 8 in the morning, and go all day. We're going to have book signings because they've ordered, down at the museum, they've just got crates of the book. And so they're going to be selling those, and I'll be signing them. And then I like to take questions. Some people, they just sign. They'll just sit there and sign the book. I like to talk to people. I like to let people ask questions. I answer them. They can take pictures with me, sign the autograph. You know, I'm a full-service celebrity.
That's nice.
I'm going to show up, and I would like a photo if possible.
Okay.
Because this is a bit forward, but I had a bit of a crush on you on that show, and I've seen you.
Where were you people back then?
I know.
Nobody wanted to admit they liked Nellie Oleson back then. Guys either thought I was just like too scary, or they didn't want to admit it if they did. Now I meet people say, "Oh, I like Nellie," but when I was 16, no, you people were nowhere to be found.
Well, we're still out here.
Well, there you are. You're out in Mankato now. I know. Well, yeah, will you come on over? Absolutely. You can come, take a picture with me. I'll sign your book. It'll be great.
Okay. And then you're going to be at the Mall of America on the 26th. So, Ton, you can go to that one.
Yes, on the Monday. Yes. Absolutely. I've never been. I'm very excited. It's huge, isn't it?
It's pretty large, yeah.
It's a lot of shoes.
Lots.
Oh, I like shoes.
Shoe stores.
I like shoes.
T-shirt stores, restaurants.
I should bring like an empty suitcase.
Amusement parks.
Do some shopping.
You can take a ride on some kind of Dora the Explorer ride or something.
Oh,
it's pretty.
Well, don't they have like a beach and like you can like swim
There's
at the mall
everything.
Or something?
Yep, you can do whatever you want there.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Well, do you have any other parting words for the listeners?
I don't know. Gosh, I know. Oh, Almanzo's supposed to be coming into town too. I think you're getting him the week before. Dean Butler. You're getting Dean Butler the week before. He may stick around. He's fun. If you get Dean Butler, you'll like him. Almanzo's a great guy. But any parting shot? I don't know. Well, come see me in Walnut Grove. Don't push me in Plum Creek, no matter what a good idea it may seem like at the time.
Okay.
I'll probably dunk myself anyway for the hell of it, but don't try to hold me underwater and drown me, okay?
I'll try to control myself.
Yeah, you're safe with you're safe with us.
You have to come and protect me from the overzealous spawn of the head.
That's right. Almanzo's got nothing on me.
Yeah. Dusty will be throwing himself in front of you. No!
I'm the real Manly around these parts.
Now, the restaurant in Walnut Grove, did they rename it like Nellie's?
Yeah, I believe so. I ate some ice cream there last year.
That's great, because it wasn't named Nellie's in '92. It was some other name, so I'll have to come and eat at Nellie's. It'll be great.
It's come
fantastic.
Full circle.
Yeah, exactly. All these years, I'm totally into it. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to buy bonnets and little tin buckets and, wooden pencils. Yeah. I'm totally there.
All right.
Well, that's great.
All right. Well, thanks so much for letting us bother you here for a little while.
Oh, that's cool.
We better let you turn the AC back on. We don't want you burning up.
Yeah, I gotta go turn up the air conditioning. It's like how hot is it there? It's like 98 degrees out here.
It's 147 here, I believe.
Right.
And 200% humidity. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
There's clouds of mosquitoes everywhere. That's what you have to look forward to.
Lovely. See you in 2 weeks.
Yep, we'll see you then. Thanks very much.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
You too.